Awesome. We've got that. That's my one that I was worried about. Okay, most of you might know a little bit about Edgenuity or about Contract Academy Learning when you get a Synergy alert on your grade book. So when that happens, what that does for us, now again, when we are teaching Contract Academy Learning through Edgenuity, it stops for us to enter grades. Our students, remember, they're doing credit recovery. Most courses are 50 hours long. So it should take them about 5 weeks to complete a course. And so we'll be constantly adding grades into the system. However, when this happens to us, as it says Plato teachers, I think actually they've changed it now to it says formally Plato. We are not allowed to or enter grades. So at that point, it kind of stops us and has the registrar or somebody from the district able to enter grades. So again, this is probably the biggest issue that we have when it comes to not being a regular semester or quarter grade system or even progress. So that can slow us down a little bit when it comes to the students getting to their next course. Any questions on this one? I'm just going to check the chat. All right, let's see if I can find the chat. There we go. No questions on that one? All right, good. So again, that is pretty much about that. Learning objectives, we're going to define Edgenuity. We're going to list and describe how Edgenuity supports all students. I should actually say most, because maybe not all. We're going to preview the new system EdgeX. We're going to compare and contrast traditional learning with Edgenuity, and we're going to examine covering for Cal or Intersession. So if you were able to cover one of those courses or classes, you'll be able to see what to do and what the student should be working on. All right, so this is what Edgenuity is. It's a leading provider of online and blending learning solutions, offers a comprehensive program of K through 12 digital curriculum. Mostly we use this just for credit recovery, but there's other ways you could use it as well. And then our goal for today is to ensure students and teachers have access to engaging resources that meet students' diverse learning needs. So again, that's what our main focus is when it comes to our students. We chose this program because it was able to give a lot of support to our English language learners as well as our students with disabilities. All right, moving on. I'm going to go ahead and show this video, which is the educator experience, and this is what the teachers would see.
Welcome to Edgenuity, where learning clicks.
Before I move on, can I get a thumbs up if people are able to watch the video and hear it correctly? Thank you, Deidre. Thank you, Janet, Stephanie. You guys are amazing. Oh, wow. Who's got the big ones? Perfect, perfect. Okay, then I'll go back to it.
Welcome to Edgenuity, where learning clicks. Educators today work in classrooms with a diverse population of students. Some are far below grade level. Others are ready to move ahead. To help these students, teachers need easy access to student data and in-depth reports. Edgenuity's learning management system offers teachers greater insight into student performance so they can measure and monitor student engagement, progress, and achievement, all in real time. Let's take a closer look to see how Edgenuity improves the educator experience.
Hello, I'm Ms. Baker. I teach in a blended learning classroom. Each morning, I log into Edgenuity, usually from my smartphone or tablet. I've never had access to so much student data before. Before my students get to class, I look at what they accomplished yesterday to determine how I'm going to work with them today. One of the most powerful resources I have is the dashboard. Here I can quickly see how my students are performing in my class. The dashboard lets me know who's on track, who's behind, and who needs my attention. Amanda has a yellow alert next to her name, telling me she has submitted an assignment that needs to be graded. Let's see how she did. I can see she did a nice job with the main idea and supporting details in this essay, but she needs to work on her spelling and capitalization. I'm going to change Amanda's grade to 75% and leave some feedback in the comments section so she knows what she needs to work on. There is an orange alert next to George's name, letting me know that I need to review his work in this unit before I unlock the unit test. I'm going to make sure he is truly spending time on this lesson and engaging with the content. It looks like he spent about 17 minutes on the unit review and got a number of questions wrong. I will send George an email to find out if he's really struggling with the content or if he didn't dedicate enough time to the practice test. The red alert tells me Sarah is out of retakes. She took the quiz twice, so I'm going to make a plan to work with her before letting her take the quiz again. I want to make sure my students understand the recent lesson we've been focused on. To better plan for my class, I'm going to review the lesson mastery report to evaluate my students' subject mastery. This report lets me view both student and class progress, and I can even sort this information by standards, so I know exactly which standards my students have mastered and which ones they are struggling with. At a glance, I can quickly see how my class is performing as a whole, and I can also drill down to see how each of my students performed on the lesson quiz. It appears that I have 5 students who are all struggling with the same concept. I'll place them in a small group so I can teach a mini lesson on this skill today. Edgenuity's platform makes it easier to grade student work and review a variety of reports that help me ensure students are making progress, mastering concepts, and succeeding academically. I know so much about what they understand and what they're struggling with. I can tell exactly where to spend my time, and my relationships with my students are even stronger.
With easy-to-access tools and reports in Edgenuity, teachers can personalize instruction and provide targeted feedback to ensure every student is developing the skills needed for college and career. Edgenuity is where learning clicks.
All right, so I'm just going to pause a little bit to see if anybody has some questions. Let's see. Let me go here. Fantastic. Thank you for all of you that did yes on that one. Well done. So Edgenuity in the last couple of years has been changing, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit. But that's kind of a quick snapshot on that. So most people that do teach Edgenuity or Cal will have about 25 to 30 students in their courses or in their class. So it can be a little challenging when you have many that are in Spanish or PE or English and math and science and all of that. But they definitely give you a lot of assistance when it comes to the answer explanations. And again, we're going to get into that in just a little bit with our new program, which is EdgeX. And we're going to move on. So no questions about Edgenuity. That was easy. All right, well, good. Hopefully that's enough to get you through that. All right, let me go back. I think I skipped one. Oh, no, I did not. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 5 minutes to work on Figma. Figma is going to be the student experience, and it looks like this. And I'm going to give you the link for it. Unless you can click on, if you guys can click on slide 9, it is there as well. And we're going to do the first couple of ones together, and then I will release you for some independent time. All right. Stephanie, can you give me a thumbs up if that works? Perfect. All right. Again, we're going to do the first couple slides together just so you can see what the students are going to go through. So active courses are going to display as tiles. So these 2 little items are tiles. So these students are in, let's say, 2 courses, but of course, one is going to be the Coursware sampler. Now, when it comes to our high schools, we only have students who work on 1 course at a time, but you might have multiple. If you go into the continuation schools, students could be working on 2 or 3, so they might have that one, but mostly they'll have 1. And once they complete the course, we would actually remove it so they don't see it on their screen. So what you're going to be doing through this activity is just looking at the purple box and going through what they're going to have you show as a student. So you're going to be acting as a student through Edgenuity. If a target is set, the progress bar will be colored in here. So this pre-algebra, they are ahead, which is fantastic. We don't see this much. Usually they're blue or red, but setting their completion date definitely gives them an idea. Remember, it should be about 5 weeks per course. And so you're going to click directly. So it's going to tell you exactly what to do on the sampler course. And it's going to go straight to, so as soon as the students do this, they're going to go into their units and where they're supposed to be. So on the right, the course structure shows an outline of units and lessons. Most courses are default to sequential mode, and lessons must be completed in order. So unit 1, unit 2, unit 3 scaffolds all the way down to the final review. So click language arts. And we're going to go to, should be here. Perfect. And then you're going to be able to expand. And it's going to give you either the guided notes, the standards, and the transcripts. And then you would close. So it shows you right here, click to close header, and then you're going to go to the warm up. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Right now it's 10:21, so at 10:25, we're going to go through this. When you go through this activity though, what I want you to really focus on is, as you work with Edgenuity for Students, list and describe 2 features that would support English language learners and students with disabilities. So again, I'll meet you back here at 10:25. All right, so in the chat, if you can just do 1 or 2 ways that Edgenuity helps most of our students, our ELs, or you can just respond. You do not have to type. Anyone? Bueller, thank you. I appreciate that, Laura. Thank you. Yeah, it's great when it has those vocabulary words. Sometimes the students don't even see that there's that glossary there. Voice to text options, definitely. The ELD assistance is going to be, they're going to be able to translate into their other, whatever their preferred language is. Yeah, definitely. It's getting better though, especially when you're having to, the students can actually hear that as well. So not just reading their video to rewatch.
What I mean by that is that you can watch the video, and if you didn't quite get it, you could rewind, go back, as many times.
Yeah, and it's a really nice, our new system, which is EdgeX, which I'll get into, and I'm trying not to talk about it so much because it's amazing, is that they are actually reteaching the students as soon as they get something incorrect. Instead of them waiting until the end, they're like, no, go back and work on that. So it's going to get better, which is why I'm so excited about it. But yeah, it's great for our students. I mean, for those of you that did do Edmonton before or Plato, there was really not a way for us to modify. It was either all in English and they could translate it, but not the voice to text and all of that. So those are some tools that our students, I believe, should be using more. Awesome. All right, we're going to move on then. And why was, again, one of the selling points about Edgenuity. So we're able to modify for students. Instead of me reading off the screen, I'm going to have you just go through a couple of those. I'm going to give you access to this document. A lot of you, I can see, are case managers in here. You should be working with the Edgenuity teacher. Students become advocates though. So as soon as they get their course, I'll have my students I'm not touching it until I have the course that's modified for them. All right, with those accommodations. And I should say it's in most courses, I think it's Spanish, PE, as well as French. We're not really able to modify that, even though we've got a new, we're rolling out the new Spanish courses soon that's updated with Edgenuity X, so that could be changing. Assessment items can be reduced. There's some courses that are 50 questions. I think English, that exam is pretty long. So I think you should be able to modify it for all students, even if they're not ELs or students with disabilities. Those multiple choice answers can be reduced, again, from 4 to 2 in increments of 1. And again, if you do have one of these students, you would need to either meet with their case manager. The reason why we, or actually I should say Dr. Fleming and I went through this, is that for our case managers, if they have maybe 2 or 3 of their students working on English 9 Fall, we're going to remove the same unit. So there's consistency through that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you access. I guess we'll do it this way. I'm going to give you access to to my website for introduction. It's going to have everything on there. Control C. So in the chat, if you can please grab this link, and that's the Google site that has all the information you're going to get today, in a little bit more than just the presentation. So if you are on that one, it's going to give you, and I'm just going to click on it right now. So if you're able to click on that one and get to, it has the same exact thing, but you can see at this point, we have, and it's growing. All right, so we do have a lot more ones. And most courses are about 50 hours for credit recovery. And so when we remove units, as you can see, it says exactly the hours that we are removing for that student. And then if there's et cetera, which means because you might remove a certain unit, you might need to change the percentage of the grading category. And that would be something that we would talk about in the 2-day training on how to do that. But again, if you are a case manager or you're a counselor, specifically with ELs, make sure you have access to this document so you're able to make those choices for your student. And since we're on this website, as you can see, this is going to be exactly the presentation that we're working on right now, and just a little bit different model on that one. And we have modifying edge, which you can see is where we are right now on slide 10, which correlates to the second one on that. And as you can see on the left hand, we have the next couple of items that we need to get to. All right. Just checking for questions, any clarification. Do you need help on the site? Thank you, John. I appreciate that. All right, so the only big change from this presentation from last presentation was the fact that we are going to be working through EdgeX next year. So for those of you that are already teaching Edgenuity, there'll be trainings on that one because it's a little different. I mean, it's better, so it's going to be great. So I'll go back to our presentation. All right, so here we go. EdgeX again. We did pilot the program in spring through our spring Intersession. Only 5 of the students of that because they only had English and math. Right now they have a lot more courses, and here we go with a video on EdgeX. Let me turn on the lights real quick as I move. All right, so again, that's just a short preview of our new system that's going to be rolling out. Why I liked it is it's easier for grading. Of course, if anything that's easier than grading, that you don't have multiple tabs and having to go back. So it's going to definitely save teacher time as well. Students preferred it. Of the 5 students that rolled out the new program, only 1 decided that they did not want to use the new system. And sometimes with our EL students, consistency is key. And so it was like their 7th course, and they said, no, I just want to do the traditional Edgenuity. So we're going to call that Heritage as our traditional Edgenuity, and the new one is EdgeX. So there'll be 2 different designs, but there'll be lots of. Okay, there you go. All right. So again, what's the difference between Edgenuity and EdgeX? What's great is for our students, when they miss something, they're going to get that answer explanation either by video or through another site to go back to and to review. They're going to be shorter videos. I would say it's kind of more, they kind of zhuzhed it up. I think it more like more TikTok-y, whatever that means, but it seems to be more, they're better videos. All right. They're going to be fillable guided notes for those schools that did not have Kami. You're going to be able to actually just write on those guided notes, and you can save them, print them as well. And then going to have better course options to customize the students' needs. I'm going to have you look at this flyer as well. And I'm going to put that, hopefully this one is shareable. Copy link. It looks like it is already. So in the chat, I'm going to put in, there you go. All right. So Victoria, let me see what that one says. I believe I did that one. Okay, hold on. Do we want to share sync times to give teachers an idea of what to expect? Classes. Yeah, Victoria, I don't mind you going over that one as well, if you would like, or you're like, no, thanks.
No, I'm definitely happy to jump on, just because I know that
Yeah.
it can be frustrating on the teacher end when you're expecting the student to get in right away. So what does happen is the counselor will make the change on the synergy schedule.
Victoria, do you mind if I just, Victoria is our Edgenuity guru down at the district office. So her extension is 1046 and she is amazing. All right, Victoria, go ahead.
In fact, let me get down here so you guys can kind of see my face. Hi, everyone.
Yay.
Okay, so we do have 3 different times where we sync. It is automated. We use Clever to do all of this data syncing. So the first piece of the steps, or the first piece of the process, is counselors enrolling your students into their synergy courses. Once that's done, we do retrieve data 3 times a day. One is at 8:20, the second is at 11:20, and the last one is at 4 o'clock. At that point in time, we are communicating the schedule that your student has to Clever, so that way it can populate in Edgenuity. 8:40, 11:40, and 6 o'clock is when that communication happens. So that means all of our data is being sent over to Clever. at 9 o'clock. And I'm going to share this information later again. But at 9 o'clock, 12:30, and 8 o'clock p.m., our actual sync goes through on the Edgenuity side. So at about 9 to 9:45 or so, we should see students start to populate if they didn't have a class on that very day, or say that they got a class change at 8 in the morning. You'll see that. You should be able to see that as soon as 9 o'clock. If there are issues with it, you guys are welcome to reach out. We are looking to have somebody at the school site to support first and foremost, and then I should be the second person. But in any case, to troubleshoot, it's super easy. And I hear that with EdgeX, as we're moving towards that, it's going to be even easier. So I imagine that it's only going to get better.
Fingers crossed on that, right?
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to it. So I'm excited. But I'm always open for any questions. Feel free to shoot me an email if you require support. I know that it gets a little bit hectic. At the start of the school year, we don't anticipate any issues, but hey, we never do, when they happen sometimes, at every term that we do start a session. But reach out to me. We will do our best to work through it. It is just me. But again, with hopefully getting somebody at the school sites, we'll have a better team to better and more rapidly support.
Perfect. Any questions for Victoria?
And if you don't have questions now, like I said, feel free to email me. I'll do my best to answer your question. If I don't have the answer, I'll get the right person for you.
Yeah, I know. And it gets, it definitely gets kind of hectic when it comes to that synergy, Edgenuity. I always say if it doesn't happen with 24 hours, then go ahead and contact. I try to be patient when it comes to that. Some of our students, though, they were like, I want to start it immediately, and it doesn't happen that way. And we can't actually manually add them. So again, it has to be a counselor adding them to Synergy. Synergy will communicate with Edgenuity, and Edgenuity will pop up their course on Clever. So again, about 24 hours is what I usually give the students. There's other, things that they could be working on during that time. I went to a training on, was it Monday, Tuesday, about a library access for our students. So again, if there's a lot of different things they could do on that one. Okay. Yeah, awesome. So again, Edgenuity is moving into EdgeX. Not all courses are going to be updated, but most are that we're going to use. And for those of you that are case managers or counselors, remember, we always try to have our students start with their easiest course they need to recover. So they're learning Edgenuity as well as the course. So again, please make sure. It can get a little frustrating for our students if we give them a very difficult course to start with at first, and they become frustrated. So we definitely, my kind of thing is I go easy, then medium, then maybe their most difficult course, and then go back medium and easy. So it's kind of just, maybe they're going to get through a course in 3 weeks, which is possible. Remember, most courses are 50 hours. So if the student spends time at home or after school tutorials, they're going to go through it a lot quicker. Things our students can't do at home is test. All right. So either pre-testing or post-testing, all tests have to be done in class. All right. In a structured setting. So the students are not, Googling the answer or using their phones. So if you have any questions on that one, please reach out to me or Dr. Fleming on our protocols on that. All right. So again, you have access to Imagine, EdgeX, and again, the 10 reasons why it's better than our traditional one. Okay, let me go ahead and go back to our presentation. All right, perfect. Okay, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and take our 15-minute break. And the reason why I'm going to take the break now is because we're going to be going over scope and sequence with our, let me go ahead and share this instead and present it slideshow. Perfect. So at this point, let's get back here. Actually, let's get back here right at 11. If we can get here at 11, then I'm going to go through. In the chat, though, if you could please let me know what your course is that you teach right now. And if you do not teach a course, that's fine. You can look at the other scope and sequence. It's going to go over the standards. So in about 15 minutes, we're going to get back together at 11 and go through example courses or the course that you're in. I'm going to give you access. Let's see. Do not teach a course at the time. Perfect. I know, John, you were saying you're going to be maybe ROP, possible. English 11. Perfect. All right. So I will work on English. Perfect. We'll work on that one. That one is already linked. Let me go through all of the ones that have been linked already, and I'm going to download the course scope and sequence for those of you. And that's what we're going to be working on our sandbox time. Oop, not here. That's going to be our last 15 minutes, but in our sandbox time. All right. So these are the ones I currently have downloaded, but I will be adding more based on what our teachers need today. So again, if you are already teaching a course and yours is not on there, I can definitely go through that. All right. Jonelle, am I saying that correctly? Perfect. All right. So let me look at if I have access to visual arts right now. Let's see. Deidre, thank you for your clarification. What course are you currently? Because we're going to compare and contrast your course versus our Edgenuity course. So it's science, correct, Deidre?
Yeah, I teach chemistry right now, but I had put in for they did a forum last year, so I don't know if anything's going to come of it, but about if there was any interest in covering, I think, an Edgenuity section either before or after school, and I don't even know if that's still needed. Maybe that was just a just in case thing.
Yeah,
So,
but what we're going to do in our sandbox time is you're going to be looking at the scope and sequence and standards of chemistry. So your course versus that one. So I'm going to work on visual arts right now, and then as soon as that, I'm going to be updating. I will be updating my website, and I'll get to that in just a second.
Okay, I do know too that the although they're phasing it out, but the NGS one did have a fair amount of chemistry in it, so that I could look at that one if that's easier.
No, I mean, I need to update my
Okay.
So I don't mind it at all. Again, I'm just getting visual arts on there, and then I can do that. Let's see, save on.
Thank you.
No worries. Okay, perfect. And sorry for the clicking. I'm a big clicker right now, and I can imagine how annoying. Maybe I should just turn off my sound. I was going to say, Deidre, I know it's break time, but I have not seen what open sections we have. Okay, we've got about a minute until we start our 2 activities for our sandbox time. All right, it's 11 o'clock. Just give me a thumbs up if you're back, or just say hi in the chat. Thank you. Awesome. Perfect. I think that's about enough of you that are, and I do understand. Hopefully you're multitasking. I know I try not to when I'm in presentations, but answering those emails or just looking at your the new schedule, at least for us at LSL, I noticed that times have changed a little bit. All right, so we're going to do one more activity before we get into our independent work time. And that'll be either Edgenuity or something that is school related. All right, so let's move on to, for those of you that did put in the chat, so you can see that I have added the scope and sequence of Art 1-2 Fall as well as chemistry. So thank you, Miss Victoria, for helping me out with that. That's definitely nice when you can kind of see, and we'll get into the directions on that one in just a second. But before that, we're going to finish up kind of our presentation, and then I'll turn off the recording, share this tab instead. Let's go ahead and slideshow, and let's go with now subplans. Subplans are really important, I think, because when you are covering possible an Edgenuity course or a class, you'll be able to kind of go over the instructions on that. Please know that I did modify this from SLAM 2023 with Miss Gonzalez. So if you can click onto subplans, during our sandbox time, you can modify this. If you were to sub for Edgenuity, I think this is a good way to just have that. So again, please make sure you give credit to Miss Gonzalez, though. I don't want her to think that would be a plagiarism, but I did ask for permission. So if you were to ever cover, and you can just have this ready to go. So again, substitute teacher, you would put your name. And these are kind of the norms for cell phone, as well as bathrooms, as well as respect. So again, you can add your own rules to this one as well. But if I had a substitute covering my class, these are kind of the things that are happening. And I guess according to Facebook, it looks like the middle schools are going as a no phone zone anyway. So crazy to think that's going to be, hopefully it's not too much of a problem. All right. So again, these are kind of my instructions for my substitutes or whoever covers my class, that students are to log into Clever, and they go through Edgenuity through Clever. Complete one lesson or review notes for today. And if you finish early or get stuck, so previously when we did the Figma, which was the student experience, if a student they don't pass the quiz the first 2 times with a 70 or higher, it's going to give them being stuck, which means they need to review. So they should be reviewing not only the questions that they got incorrect, but they're not going to be able to move on until the teacher of record is able to bypass that assignment. Complete other assignments for this class, which means they can review those videos, which we've seen, complete assignments for another class, or if you're caught up with all classes, please work on something quietly, again, reading and drawing. So again, during our sandbox time, you can either modify this as if you were to cover for a Cal class, or you can work on comparing and contrasting. So right now we'll be working on, I'm share this tab instead. You'll be either working on comparing and contrasting. If you still want me to add more course scopes and sequence, again, the standards, let me know, and I can do that during my sandbox time as well. So we either do compare and contrasting what you currently teach. So like Ms. Gonzalez teaches chemistry fall. She might want to see what units are similar and what are different to give an idea what the students, if they do not pass the course, what they're going to be working on. Maybe you can see some similarities, like maybe that student only needs to complete one of those units for maybe a grade change. Again, it's completely up to the teacher what they decide to do. All right, so again, about an hour that we're going to be working on that. And when we come back about 12:05, we'll be going over celebrations as well as the feedback form. All right, on a scale from 1 to 5, hopefully it's not a 0, do you understand what's going on for the sandbox time? I'm just checking for understanding. Okay, John, perfect. So John, you're going to be moving into a sub. Okay, so perfect. Thank you. Thanks again for letting me know. Thank you, Mr. Turbe. What will happen during our sandbox session? You can do 2 things. You can either look at the scope and sequences found on the website that we use for today, and I'm going to go ahead and get straight into this link into that. So again, you're just looking at the course. Let me get up again. You're going to be looking at the course that you're currently, for those of you that are case managers, you might want to go through the modifications document that we did earlier, or you can be working on your sub-plans if you were to cover Cal. So actually there's 3 different things you could do. So this is independent work time to compare and contrast your course that you currently teach to what it would look like with Edgenuity. You could also work on sub-plans if you were to cover Edgenuity using the example that I just gave, or you could be, if you're a case manager or anything else, you could look at the modification. So as long as you're working on something that's related to Edgenuity, including subplans. Now, Albert, is that better? Perfect. So John, let's see. Let me go ahead and put this. Okay, so that one right there, John, is the sample subplan. So just make a copy. You can add to it if you want to have other rules. Thank you, Miss Victoria, for all you do for our students. Yeah, I shouldn't have given your extension because, that's my go-to. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. There we go.